Oh, I'm so hungry. If only there was a way that my computer could cook food for me while I played Fortnite. Hi, I'm Noah, and today we're going to be solving the problem of hungry gamers once and for all by building a sous-vide cooker inside a PC water cooling loop. Sorry, I can't say this with a straight face. We're filming this whole thing out of order, and this is the last shot, and I know exactly how well it went. Anyways, so the plan is to use this water cooling AIO, plug it into a computer's CPU, put the radiator inside a tank of water, and throw food in it. The general idea of a sous vide cooker is to cook food slowly in a bath of hot-ish water, and then it sort of like stews in this tepid soup until it's like sort of pasteurized. Really, it's delicious, I'm sure. I've never sous vide cooked anything in my life, or even anything sous vide cooked, but I'm sure this is gonna go really well. Alright, so let's get started. First things first, I'm gonna dissect my computer case. By ripping out the drive cage and cutting a big ass hole in the side panel, we should make room for the sous vide cooker inside the case. The next step is to install a PC in it. I'm going to be using the first PC I ever built. It is equipped with an eye-wateringly fast AMD Athlon 2, top of the line from 2006. Hopefully, it should have enough power to heat up our water bath and cook us a lovely steak. Anyways, on to the build montage. So once I built the whole thing, I moved on to testing it to make sure that it would, work, so that when I put my steak in it, it wouldn't come out raw. I poured some water in the reservoir, and God, that felt so wrong. Pouring water into a computer is not something I ever thought I'd do in my life, especially not into like a bucket in the open top of a computer. It's really just not something. It's not something that I thought I would do. And then I fired up out of 64 and ran a stress test in the CPU to make sure it was just pinned on the highest CPU temp, because I want to basically fry the CPU in order to generate as much heat as possible. I left like that for about 2 hours and the temperature had barely gone up. It went up about 10 degrees in those 2 hours, which is about 5 degrees an hour, and that is appallingly slow. So I made a plan to come back the next day and test it again, but this time with warm water, testing if it can maintain a warm temperature. Because, if we know it can go up, then we don't really need to do that again. And I don't want to wait the rest of my life for this thing to heat up water to a steak cooking temperature. So it's been 2 days, 3 days, it's been a couple days, doesn't really matter. And so we're back. So last time we proved it can increase the heat of water, albeit excruciatingly slowly. So today I'm going to be preheating the water to about 50 degrees before I put it in the reservoir. Now you might be saying to yourself, Noah, that is an absolutely horrible idea. Why would you ever put hot water in a computer reservoir? To which I can respond, well, go on, watch with your morbid curiosity, and just don't do this at home. Because, yeah, it's probably a pretty bad idea. But I want to see if it can maintain that 50 to 60 degree temperature while it's in here. And to do that, I've increased the insulation with a proper sealing lid. I just cut a hole in the Tupperware lid. Yeah, insulation isn't normally something you want in a water cooling loop, but this water cooling loop is more of a water heating loop, so let's see how it goes. This feels so wrong. Alright, so we're at 53 degrees, let's cover it up. It's steaming, Lisa, it's literally steaming. There is steam coming out of the computer. Alright, here goes nothing. Alright, that is nice and sealed. Our water is at 50 degrees and it is maintaining temperature roughly. Oh no, it's dropping a little bit. Come on, little Athlon 2, you can do it. Let's see how hot your CPU is. CPU, 54 degrees! Yes! And it's still running. Now, let's get that stress test going. Dear computer, you were the first computer I ever built. I love you so much. And I am really fucking sorry for what I am currently doing to you. Okay? Now, little buddy, if you can just power through this, we're gonna use you to cook a steak, okay? It's not exploitation. We got some tin foil in here to help keep the extra little bit of heat in. These AIO pipes are actually hot to the touch. Not a good thing, but it means our CPU temp is maintaining at 55 degrees Celsius. All right, so it has been about 40 minutes and we've lost 3 degrees on the temperature. So our little Athlon 2 cannot put up enough heat in order to keep this bath warm at 55 degrees. It might be able to keep 50, but I'm not sure it can. So I was originally going for a steak, which would require about 56 degrees temperature to get a medium rare steak. However, looking at the evidence presented in front of me, that's not gonna happen. So what I'm thinking of doing is just trying an egg. I've heard that sous vide eggs are actually a great way to start your sous vide cooking career and a really nice starting point for learning things. Plus, you can do them, well, you're meant to do them at 50 degrees, but we're gonna do it for about like 2 hours at whatever temp we can maintain here. You do it like you're boiling an egg, and the idea is you should have a cooked but gooey egg as a result of it. To me, that sounds appalling, but apparently it's delicious. So I'm gonna go grab an egg. Lower it in. Yay, we didn't get any water on the computer. That's a win. Maybe I should have covered up those ventilation holes. Oh well, I was honestly concerned about this thing overheating, so I didn't want to cover up any of the holes, but apparently that's not a concern I should have had. Okay, so starting time is 12:40. Let's take out the egg at about 2:40 and see how it looks. Okay, so I said I'd put it in for 2 hours, but I actually ended up putting it in for 4 hours. The temperature is now 39, it just dropped to 38. The temperature is now 39 degrees, meaning that our average temperature has been about 45 degrees the whole time, which is not great, but hopefully it's at least somewhat cooked. So let's open her up and have a look here. Let's pull this off here and see how our radiator is doing. There is a lot of condensation there. Oh my, that is very wet, and realistically should be nowhere near a computer. Anyways, come on little eggy. That feels boiled. I'm not actually sure how something can feel boiled. All right, here goes nothing. Oh no. Oh, that's not boiled.
Crack it.
4 hours it's been in there. That's not even close. So that's what four hours of the sous vide PC did to an egg. Absolutely nothing. Well, with that disappointment, I think it's time to go back to the drawing board. That didn't go too well, but maybe next time I can use a thermoelectric cooler to say, fuck you, thermodynamics, and then bake my CPU even harder, run one on the GPU too, have a water cooling loop that goes from both of them into the bucket directly, skip the radiator, and that'll all work. Funnily enough, that is actually what I'm gonna do next time. I've already ordered the parts for it, so hopefully that video will be coming along sometime in the next 10 years. Anyways, this time, it just didn't work because the CPU isn't powerful enough. I thought that maybe it would be able to do it, and honestly, I thought that an egg for 4 hours at 40-something degrees would cook, and the temperature of the egg did not get up to scratch. It just didn't reach the internal temperature and the egg didn't cook. I don't know what else to say. The egg didn't cook. And I really wanted to do a steak. Like, I really want to cook a steak in this thing. Or like ramen, or a steak, or ramen, or a cake. I don't know, something. I want this to be a legitimate kitchen appliance, despite it being horrible. So I ordered some thermoelectric coolers, and there will be a part 2 of this. And maybe a part 3, and potentially a part 4, and maybe a part 5. But I will not stop until I have cooked a steak inside my computer, because that will be the coolest thing ever. Anyways, tune in next time to watch me take a hovercraft to a skate park. Have a great day, and thanks so much for watching.